Okay, the government strategy meet has already begun after the devastating attack that killed 17 of our jawans, injuring 25 at the line of control. We're getting to hear that the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and the Director of the Intelligence Bureau, along with the Chief of the External Intelligence Unit and a slew of other top officials, will be present at this meet. Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar is also likely to meet and brief the Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the recent attack. A team of National Investigation Agency will also be visiting Uri to take stock of the situation out there. The Home Secretary has reviewed the security of Jammu and Kashmir with the Ministry of Home Affairs. The NIA team will also be visit the Army's frontline administrative base, which also doubles up as a supplies depot.
कोई मायने नहीं रखता है, सब चीज सामने में आ चुका है, इसलिए पाकिस्तान क्या रिएक्शन करता है उस पर अभी ज्यादा हम लोगों को ध्यान नहीं देना चाहिए।
आरोप लगा रहे हैं भारत का टैक्टिक्स है सर।
इसमें टैक्टिक्स देखिए, इसमें ज्यादा बयानबाजी नहीं करना चाहिए। अभी जो कदम उठाएंगे वो देख करके उठाएंगे, सब कुछ में को ध्यान में रखते हुए, इसलिए इसको ज्यादा बयानबाजी करना इस वक्त ठीक नहीं है।
लेकिन पठानकोट के बाद फिर से ये घटना लगातार,
इसके लिए इसलिए कहा ना, जो कदम उठाना है वो सोच समझ करके कदम उठाएंगे। उसको ज्यादा बयानबाजी करके उसको बिल्कुल अलग तरह का मुद्दा नहीं बनाना है। जो करना है सोच समझ के फोकस के साथ करना चाहिए।
लेकिन सर, पाकिस्तान तो हमेशा डिनायल मोड में रहता है जिस तरीके
नहीं, मैंने कहा ना, अब उसको ज्यादा तूल नहीं देना चाहिए। पाकिस्तान क्या बोलता है, अब
हमारे पास क्लिंचिंग एविडेंस है सर पाकिस्तानी इन्वॉल्वमेंट।
हाँ, वो तो आप एजेंसीज बताएंगे पूरा।
उधर
घटना कैसे हुई, क्यों हुई, कहां पर कमी पाई गई, कहां पे क्या हुआ, इसकी जांच जरूरी है। मैं उस हैसियत से कि सेना को मैंने बहुत नजदीक से देखा है, जरूरी है कि इसका विश्लेषण किया जाए कि क्या हुआ है। और ऐसा हमला जो है उसके बारे में हमने क्या किया, क्या कमियां पाई, इसके बारे में सोच विचार करना जरूरी है। बाकी हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने, हमारे गृह मंत्री ने, अरुण जेटली जी ने कल जो एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस की थी उसके अंदर उन्होंने कहा है कि इसके ऊपर क्या कार्रवाई की जाएगी, इस पे आगे क्या किया जाएगा, वो हम सरकार के ऊपर निर्णय छोड़ते हैं कि क्या किया जाए। लेकिन सेना की तरफ से सतर्कता जरूरी है। कश्मीर के हालात के ऊपर सबको चिंता करनी जरूरी है। और मैं चाहूँगा कि इसमें बिना किसी उत्तेजना के, बिना किसी रोष के, ठंडे दिमाग से क्या करना चाहिए, क्या नहीं करना चाहिए, वो सोच विचार करना जरूर। आए दिन कुछ ना कुछ पाकिस्तान की तरफ से होता जा रहा है और मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो कहा है उसके ऊपर कोई ना कोई कार्रवाई ज़रूर होगी। देखिए, किसी भी काम को करने के लिए भावनात्मक कार्रवाई नहीं होनी चाहिए, बड़े ठंडे दिमाग से अच्छी रणनीति के साथ कार्रवाई।
Let's go straight now to India Today's executive editor Gaurav Sawant. The Gaurav, BJP General Secretary Ram Madhav has been extremely vocal, calling for exemplary punishment against Pakistan. The clamour is growing to hit back. What can we expect now from this very important strategy meeting that is going on in the national capital?
The current meeting in the national capital is to strengthen India's own defences internally. Amidst reports that there is one group of terrorists out there in Kashmir which is planning to strike at an army or a CRPF or police base. The review meeting is about internal security. Simultaneously, punitive measures that need to be taken against state sponsor of terror Pakistan, and especially hitting out on Pakistani terrorist training camps and whatever will be the escalation containment mechanism. That is what is being deliberated at multiple levels. From what my sources in the government are telling me is the first threat is from the enemy within and the terrorists who've already sneaked in. So they will be effectively countered. There are lots of intelligence inputs that have come in, and there are a series of raids that are currently underway in the Kashmir Valley to neutralize these terrorists. So one meeting is about that, and the second is at the timing of the response. As Minister of State External Affairs General V.K. Singh said, it has to be a cold and calculated decision, not a heat of the moment reaction, because diplomatically the diplomatic fallout is also being considered, but there will be a response, is what sources are telling India today, Avantika.
Okay, and we saw, the absolute familiarities this attack had with what happened in Pathankot. In fact, yesterday, Gaurav, we were talking about how this particular attack has only exposed the vulnerability of, the troop changeovers and how they attack when a battalion changes. Tell me something, will the army look into that as well? Will this be discussed and raised with the defense minister as well?
The army has assured the defense minister that the court of inquiry will look into all lapses. The army has admitted there have been lapses. The fact that terrorists came into India and then they managed to get into an army camp. So there have been lapses. There is a review of those lapses. There are standard operating procedures in place when a battalion changeover takes place. Security needs to be double. But there were some lapses that terrorists managed to sneak in and cause such massive casualties. So that is why standard operating procedures, were they not followed, or in case if they were followed, where do they need to be reviewed, is what the army's internal meeting is all about, Avantika.
Okay, very interesting there. Gaurav, we'll keep coming back to you. For now, let's just move on. The brave hearts who perished in the very tragic Uri attacks are being mourned by the entire nation. Their families are understandably inconsolable, but seeking justice and a firm response to Pakistan's continued terror surge. Sunil Kumar, in fact, was among the 2 of the 17 brave hearts, and they belong to Bihar's Gaya district. Their families have now appealed to the government to harden its stance vis-a-vis Pakistan.
खून का खून बदला लेना चाहिए पाकिस्तान को, भाई को बदला लेना चाहिए। पाकिस्तान में मृत्यु हो गया भारत सरकार से।
मेरे को ना अपने पापा पे गर्व हो रहा है, क्योंकि मेरे पापा मरे नहीं हैं बल्कि एक शहीद हुए हैं, आर्मी में थे, और वो भी देश के लिए मरे। जैसे कि उन लोग हम लोग के देश पर अटैक करते हैं अचानक, वैसे हम लोग को भी करना चाहिए, तभी पाकिस्तान सुधरेगा, ऐसे नहीं उन लोग सुधरने।
After the attack in Uri today, the jawans who lost their lives yesterday were paid homage. A wreath-laying ceremony was organized where top commanders of the army were present. Also, civilian administration of Jammu and Kashmir went to pay their respects. Meanwhile, an alert has been sounded all across the valley. Most of the security establishments have been asked to be on an extra vigil. Across the line of control and international border, the troops have been also told to maintain a strict vigil. There is a suspicion that more attacks could take place. There was already an input that attacks like Poonch and Uri could be mounted in this period of time. We are also learning from the sources that the NIA teams would visit the valley and would carry out an investigation. They'll go to the spot and ascertain how this entire attack took place. With cameraman Roof, Shujaul Haq in Srinagar for India Today.
Let's go straight now to India Today. Shujaul Haq. Shujaul, now just tell me something. We just saw the families, in fact, the entire nation is absolutely angry. We are disturbed. There are tears of grief, yet a sense of pride as well as anger, about the kind of attack that took place in which 17 of our soldiers lost their lives. Can you tell us what can we expect today? Who all is expected to arrive in Uri, and what has been recovered from those 4 terrorists who were neutralized by our brave army soldiers?
Well, Avantika, like it was pointed out yesterday by the DGMO himself, there are 4 AK-47 rifles that were recovered from Uri, which belong to the attackers. The DGMO also said that all four of the rifles had clear markings of Pakistan on them. He also mentioned that this fact has been, put across to his counterpart, in Pakistan. Those are the facts. When when it comes to what is happening now, today there is a lot of activity in Kashmir Valley. Early in the morning we saw the wreath-laying ceremony was done in the cantonment in Srinagar. Apart from the top army commanders, the civilian administration, which included the Chief Minister herself, went there and they paid homage. Now we are also learning that the NIA team would be visiting the valley. They would go to the spot. They will ascertain what really had happened. How did this attack take place? Since yesterday we've been pointing this fact that there already was an intelligence input that such an attack could take place after Poonch and now in the Uri. So there will be this question which will be investigated and probed whether there were any or loopholes when it comes to the preparedness. Why was it allowed when there was already an alert sounded across the line of control and international border? So all these points would be investigated. We're also learning that the Home Secretary was also perhaps coming to the valley. Remember, all of it is happening when there is already so much of tension happening in Kashmir. There are more than 86 civilians who have died in unrest for past more than 2.5 months. So a very difficult situation, not just for the civilian administration, but for the security officials as well when it comes to Kashmir.
Absolutely. Shuja, thanks so much for joining us. But the one voice that is rising in our country is that enough is enough. There is a loud chorus that is demanding to make Pakistan pay. India's attempts for all cordial relations with the Pakistani government have repeatedly been answered with terror strikes, and condemning the recent Uri attack, the Prime Minister did assure that no one responsible for bleeding India will be spared. But will tough talk be enough? Let's take a look.
Intense pressure on Modi government to review its Pakistan policy. The Uri attack and the response from India is the litmus test of the Modi government. Prime Minister Modi's repeated outreach to Pakistan has been betrayed once more. India's attempts for cordial relations with Nawaz Sharif-led Pakistan government has been answered with terror strikes time and again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's stern warnings from the G20 and other platforms have not worked. Voices from within the government now indicate India's patience is running out. Home Minister Rajnath Singh on Sunday even called Pakistan a terrorist state.
आज की घटना इस बात के लिए हमें तैयार करती है कि आगे के लिए हमें और हमारी सुरक्षा फोर्सेस को और भी तैयार होना पड़ेगा.
I think time has come to call this bluff and to disrobe those who are playing this mischief.
Allies too are prodding the government. As tension aggravates, the valley continues to suffer.
The Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir has lashed out at the perpetrators of Uri attack. She has said that those who carry out such attacks have only one intention: to vitiate the atmosphere of Jammu and Kashmir, which is already very turbulent. She also said that these attacks go on to increase the aggression and increase the tension between India and Pakistan, and eventually the victims of this are the people of Jammu and Kashmir state.
What is now clear is that Uri attack has set the India-Pakistan relations back to a situation where chances of any dialogue look extremely slim. With Shuja ul Haq in Srinagar, Bureau Report, India Today.
But let's just tell you what could be India's counter strategy post those, cowardly attacks that took place in Uri district. Expose Pakistan's terror to the entire world, which has already, condemned the dastardly attack in Uri. Diplomatically isolate Pakistan, that could be the strategy number 2. In fact, that is what's expected. India will intensify efforts to isolate Pakistan internationally, will not let Pakistan infiltrations go unpunished. Strategy 4 is neutralize Pakistan proxies in India. And the 5th strategy is to work to scale down ties with Pakistan.